Hey, welcome back. It's the Alternative Perspectives podcast. The app 868. Nalo and Jude. Well, Jude, I'm Nalo. Here, yeah. I calling him and saying I'm calling him, you know. But anyhow, World Cup.
Right.
We went through the semi-finals. We're getting ready for the finals and the third and fourth place.
Nobody getting ready for that. Nobody getting ready for that.
Nah, boy, I want to see that, you know.
You want to watch that game?
Yeah, I honestly want to watch that game. Because
Serious?
watching...
I've never seen a third place playoff in any World Cup I've ever watched. No.
Nah, I think I watch a few. But, all right, so, for the people who don't know, I think everybody probably know by now, but Morocco faced France.
Right, yeah, but before we get to that, okay, well, say what you say, and then I wanna go back to some of the games that happened between last week and this week, but just make your point.
So Morocco faced France, and France beat them, so France is now
in the finals. Argentina beat Croatia. So.
Argentina beat Croatia, and so they're now in the finals, and now Morocco and Croatia have to face off to see who will be third and fourth. Well, I don't know if they check and see who fourth, but at least who third. Right? They'll know who's fourth, but I don't think that's important. Right?
It's not important either. I don't know. I keep saying nobody cares about that. But go ahead.
Right? But I want to see it only because of how Croatia and Morocco reached where they reached. And then to see how they
play differently.
How they played differently.
Because they know it's a game that doesn't matter, so they should open up and play proper football.
Let me see how it goes.
It should be two teams playing football. I hear you. I lie. I just realized I told a lie. I did see the third place playoff between that was Uruguay and Netherlands. I think whatever year that was, and Suarez palmed the ball off the line against Ghana, and they went to the semis. I think Netherlands lost in our semis, and so that was the only third place playoff game I ever remember watching. The last one between was it England and who was third by England and Croatia beat England. Who Argentina beat? Can't remember. But anyway, I didn't watch that one. But I understand what you're saying. You want to see these two teams that were known for the defensive football,
right? How
they would play against each other come Saturday. I do expect Croatia to play any differently. I expect Morocco might play a little bit more attacking, but I don't think I think the way Croatia played is just the way Croatia played.
Right.
I watched them in a couple games in the qualifiers and playing differently. Against weak opponents. They did that same possess the ball, try to possess the other team to death and build through possession. Because to be fair to Croatia, a lot of people misunderstand. They think Croatia plays defense in the same way that Morocco plays defense. Morocco, when they're playing defensively, they play in a low block.
Right.
They have like 8 players behind the ball, and they basically park themselves at the top of the box and in the box. They try to win the ball and go on counter-attacks. How Croatia plays defense is by possessing the ball, keeping the ball away from you. The age-old adage, you can't score if you don't have the ball, right? And they do that in the midfield more than in the back. You know what I mean? And they would pass. And they would look for openings when they could, but they'll pass the ball forward, and if they see no openings, they'll come back to the midfield and they'll pass back to the back four, and then come back again and so on. So it kind of, in a way, is kind of like how Spain plays, but Spain has more triangular patterns in their passing. So Croatia is possessing the ball to run down the clock.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But you see, the thing is, with Morocco's style of football, it will kind of pressure them higher up now.
Well, I think Morocco, we hoping, would... I don't even know if I'll watch the game, but if Morocco, if they do decide to get expansive, they would play more like how they play against France today, because France scored early, they had to play football, right? And they had to try to... And to be fair, they had a lot more quality up front than I thought they had. When they had to play on the front foot, they did play. They had no quality in the final third, though. The finishing was dog shit. Absolute dog shit. But their patterns of play to bring the ball up was a lot better than they look against Portugal, right? My issue with them against Portugal was that they did not have any quality in possession of the ball. So they kept giving the ball back to Portugal, and Portugal just kept coming and coming and coming. And I don't think that's a good way to defend, because yes, okay, you got away with it against Portugal, but any game where you don't control anytime you don't control the game and you win by luck, because if the other team was a little bit sharper in front of goal, or a defender slip, then
because let me realize what went on with them and France today, France was just a bit sharper.
Right, yes, exactly. And the second goal is the best example, because even the commentator said it. The number 9 from Morocco were, when he was in on goal, he wanted to walk over the line, and he was waiting for the perfect opportunity to shoot. Mbappe didn't wait for the perfect opportunity to shoot.
He hit.
And it bobbled off. Yeah. And it ended up in a goal. And as I said, the commentator pointed it out that's what that's why he should have shot when he had the chance. But yeah, so Morocco, they have a lot more quality up front passing than I thought they did. But they do have finishers. They do have a proper finisher. I don't think Croatia will play any differently. But I think though that if Morocco opens up, then I think kind of like what happened with Croatia against Canada, Croatia might have the quality to pass through them.
Because that's what I was not going to say too. I think because Morocco tends to turn over plenty, and some of their passes weren't as clean. If Croatia is playing and keeping the ball, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And Morocco is open.
Yeah.
Then they would be better able to pass through them.
Yeah. So
and get the opportunities on goal.
It's a game that I think will be interesting. So
I just feel like nothing at stake. So it had a real, and neither one of those two teams have players I particularly like watching to play.
Right.
So and if there's nothing at stake, then I will watch the game because I want to see this player or that player. I mean, I like Modric, but he's a Real Madrid player, so I can never really, probably appreciate him the way he, and Brozovic and Kovacic, they're decent, but I wouldn't turn on TV to watch them play. But before we get to, what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk about some of the surprises that we had between, right? Because remember, he was asking about Switzerland and Portugal, and I was saying, I feel Switzerland could overturn them now. But now, to be fair to me, I did not know that they would have benched Ronaldo.
Right. But remember, we were saying that. Remember, we said, I think we said that in the thing. I was like, we're playing Ronaldo, this kind of cripple our team.
Right. Cripple them, especially.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we saw it cripple Manu too. So, right? So, and they bench him.
Yeah. But if you had told me that they weren't going to play Ronaldo, they would play Gonzalo Ramos instead of him, I still would not think 6. I tell you, no, Portugal could beat them. But I didn't think they would get them 6. That game was crazy, bro. And them goals, dog, them finishes from Ramos and himself. That first goal was wicked, dog.
Yeah.
That man turned and hit the, like he measured her. That was bad, boy, dog, boy.
What club he's played for, though?
Benfica.
Oh.
Yeah. In Portugal.
So he might.
Well, he was linked to Manchester United, funny enough, during the last summer transfer window. There was talk about him going to United, and United in the end didn't pull the trigger. I don't know if it was a money thing or they were trying to get rid of Ronaldo first to open up space.
I guess so there.
Everybody gonna be interested now.
Yeah, Manchester has the money.
Well, they would have they will have. They no longer have to pay Ronaldo's salary.
Yeah, exactly.
So they'll have a salary space at least. Yeah. But I don't know if Benfica will get rid of him in January because he's crucial to their side, and even if they're going to sell him, they'll probably sell him next year, August. But let's be real, there've been a lot, and I was telling my brethren this early. a lot of players has used the World Cup to finesse teams out of money. A lot of World Cup stars has ended up being flops. James Rodriguez is the first to come to mind. That goal he scored for Colombia in 2014? It was 2014, yeah. Everybody thought he was the shit, dog. And I mean, James wasn't shit, but he wasn't the shit. You know what I mean? And he certainly wasn't as good as people thought he was, you know? Again, I don't want to make it sound like he went to Real Madrid and completely popped down. And if Ronaldo wasn't at Real Madrid at the point in time, maybe he might have had a little bit of an easier time of it. But even when he went to Bayern Munich, didn't do much. Went to Everton, didn't do much. It never panned out that he became that big star. I know they have others there, but they didn't come into mind now. But Gakpo from the Netherlands is one who I feel would fall into that category. Who he scored in the first 3 games for the Netherlands. Everybody thinking, but wow, dog, but he real bad. Real teams will come in for him. I ain't seen any shit. But I think he might be another one of them who would use that World Cup performance now to finesse big money out of teams. And when you get there, you'll see, maybe ain't all that good.
Well, boy, we'll see. And boy, if you get to take all the money, you know, big up yourself. You get to eat our food.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what you're supposed to do as a player. But I think the World Cup, because international football is much different to club football, and it's a shorter tournament. You only have to shine for a brief period of time. I don't know how the scouts just take that into consideration, but it seems like them to just go a while. You play good in the World Cup, come and get a big set of money, come play here. And most of the time, it really pan out. Especially when it's a player who's been around for a while.
Right.
You know, it's not like if he's 17 or 18.
It's not like Mbappe. When Mbappe had the World Cup, he was 19.
Right, no, but even then he was well known before that, right? But at age like 19, like let me say he was relatively unknown before he went to the World Cup. But in the case of Mbappe, he was well known before he went to the World Cup. But let's say he was relatively unknown, and then you saw him break out onto the scene. Then you might be able to say, whoa. I feel he might really be the real deal. But when a man's been playing for 4, 5 seasons, 6 seasons, he's like 24, 25, and he just come on the World Cup and light up the place. We was doing that. We was doing that. You know what I mean? Maybe he just had hit a nice patch of a form here now. And as I say, the game is different. The game is a lot slower most times, except for the first half of this France game. That was frenetic, but normally it's slower. So, you know, players have a little bit more time. And it kind of also not, the systems are looser. There's a system in place, but most times it's not as rigid as in club football.
Yeah, right? Well, I mean, I think for whatever reason, club football, they play more games
often, yes.
And they play more games together. So, you know, the team is be tighter. So
yeah. But right, that Switzerland game, it surprised me because I didn't think even with Ronaldo out of the game that Portugal could have played that free flowing football. Because that was wonderful, dog. That was people saying, you know, the Brazil game against South Korea. I actually thought the Portugal game was better. I thought Portugal played better. Well, maybe they didn't play better than Brazil, but they played good football for longer. Brazil against South Korea just kind of shut down in the second half. The first half was, you know, samba football. Yeah. That was easy on the eye. But the second half, they kind of shut down. Portugal didn't take the foot off the gas at all. And some of the goals were, the finishes was ridiculous.
Epic,
It was ridiculous.
And it's hard to see the stress with Ronaldo because Ronaldo wanted to gain some goals there. He wanted to, and
I'm glad you mentioned that.
I tell you, he's like, but this ain't working out for me at all, but
this fella. Dog, now you remember what he said about why he didn't want to come on against Tottenham. When was he coach name again?
When they tried to bring him on late.
Right.
And you're saying, my team done winning. Right? Why coming on? My team done winning.
Certain players you don't do that
right?
to.
Yeah.
And he gets up and he didn't just refuse to come on and on. He didn't just say, nah, I could point somebody else. He showed his anger by getting up off the bench and leaving. Walking into the tunnel, reportedly changing his clothes, getting in his car, and leaving, bro. He didn't even stay in the locker room to celebrate with his team. And his team was winning only by 2 goals. It was 2-0. 2-0. And he find coming on to get a run in a situation that is a waste of time. Why he didn't tell the Portugal coach that he was brought on in the 72nd minute in a game where they were winning 5 goals to 1. It was 5 or 4?
I think it was 4.
Oh, but it's 5. I think it was 5. I think Leao was the only, Rafael goal was the only one that was scored.
That come after?
That come when he came on. Because I remember he was angry because Leao didn't pass the ball to him. He shot instead and it ended up going in the goal. And he didn't even bother to run across and celebrate. He didn't even bother to run across. But 4 or 5, the game was definitely done. Right? United game against Tottenham, inconceivable. 2 goals could have come in them last 3 minutes. They could have needed you to bag the 3rd one that would have definitely put it out of. But he didn't want to come on. Why he come on then? You know why? Because all he cared about is himself. He wanted to chase stats. Messi passed him in World Cup goals. He wants to rack up his stats, bro. He came on with a smile. He didn't even come on in that game like
but you see when the youth man started scoring in the earlies, you saw when they cut him.
Yeah, and he was sour.
The man didn't look like he happy for the man at all. The man.
Yeah. I mean, people saying how he because the remember after he scored, the whole bench run across, men and bibs and thing run across to celebrate, right? But it didn't show. You couldn't see too well who was there. But then they cut away and Ronaldo was on the bench looking all forlorn. People claiming, oh no, he was part of the he had run to. I doubt that. He would not reach back to the bench so fast. And if he reach back to the
and they get put on a serious face. You know celebrate and jump and then he run back and say, he's canny, canny. Let's do that when people catch him smiling.
He's go back to the character. Yeah.
Come now,
man, dog. He was on shit. And he was, it's such a disrespect to make a big player like he come on the bench in a waste of time game. Why he didn't sit that in the World Cup? Why he didn't sit that when his score was 4-5? You know why he didn't say that? Because he want to come on the field.
Because it looked like easy food.
It is like easy food, right? And I could run up my stats, bro.
Yeah, I realized I was like, I feel he gonna want to come on. I think after I saw like 3 goals, I was like, I feel Ronaldo want to come on here to score about 3.
Yeah.
You understand?
And he came on. He that offside, bro. How far ahead he was. But then he ended up, but he was offside and he scored, but they ruled it out, right? He got another shot on goal. It didn't go in. But now that this is it for Ronaldo. That's the end of the Ronaldo and Portugal, right? What you think is where's your sense of his career now? Now that in terms of clubs,
in terms of high level football, I think it's done now. I must say, as business after the World Cup, if anybody would have reached out to him, I think based on what we see happen there, I think it's done. I think it's done. I think probably if he had reached the finals, he might have hope. But the
thing is, I was one of the, I was going to say people doing this, but I was one of them too. I was kind of judging him unfairly because obviously he's always compared to Messi, right? And the difference with Messi is that Messi can affect the game in different ways. So if Messi gets angry or is like, Messi turn a switch in his head, he will find the ball. He will come back, get the ball in the midfield, and he will begin to make moves. He will affect the game by picking out passes, going past. You know what I mean? He can affect the game on the ball. Ronaldo is now a player that cannot do that anymore. He can only affect the game in the box, applying the finish to a pass.
Right, that is what I was going to say. I think that is the difference right now, because with Argentina right now, Messi was, I don't know if they use them creating plays. Is that thing we could use?
Yes.
But that is what he was doing. He was setting and boom, he goes
He's a playmaker. He's unlocking the defenses.
Right? And That's not Ronaldo doing. That's not. And let me be real, dog. I think going into any one of them going back into club football, coming out of this, I think nobody can run down there now. But to be fair,
a finisher
at his price and his age, I don't think anybody will run. You gotta take real small money.
Well, his agents would say he deserved big money because he could make it back for the club. Wherever club he at, he made it back in jersey sales and other endorsements and marketing and so on. So he could get big money because of his marketing, right? But I think he can be a finisher, you know. In all seriousness, when I think about it now, as I say, I'm judging him unfairly. He can be a finisher, but I don't know how many teams looking for that kind of finisher right now in world football. There are very few teams that are looking for a man who does just move around in the box, pop up to get a header or a volley in the box, who can't run back, who can't press, who can't encourage hold-up play, who can't necessarily encourage link-up play. There was a point in time when that kind of striker was the dominant kind of striker in football. But now even like Harry Kane has had to come and link plays.
Yeah.
And you understand what I'm saying? He's slow and a little bit clumsy, but he and all gets involved in playmaking, and he's better at holding up the ball. He's not just popping up in the box to put the ball away. And that is all Ronaldo doing now, though.
Well,
and I don't know if anybody really needs that in world football.
No, the thing is, yeah, but I think that too, but I also think right now he has a reputation that doesn't seem good for a team. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so I think all that people will take into consideration now.
Well, but you're saying that, but I find, you know, like there was talk that Napoli would have been interested in taking him over the summer gone, right?
Right.
It was just, you know, numbers couldn't work out. And my thing is, why the fuck? Even if it was Napoli, even if I was getting him for free, I'm not doing that. Because Napoli is a team where chemistry is so important now, boy. You know what I mean? And they were, you know, they looked like during the transfer window over the summer, I think it looked like they were building something, you know. Osimhen is now, he had just come back from injury, and he, you know, he's now coming into himself. Were you gonna upset the apple cart with bringing him like Ronaldo for? You know what I mean? But I don't get paid to do anything with football. You know what I mean? But men there, executives seem to be interested. Now, it didn't happen, but it didn't happen for the reason.
Right.
It should have happened, which is like, nah, fuck, I'm not gonna upset my team chemistry. Like, I'm gonna start a team like Chelsea. Chelsea has never been a team that was built on camaraderie or chemistry. It just seemed like a mercenary team. It's a mercenary coach. They're bringing a coach for a short time. He's putting things together, wap, you win, and then everybody just kind of, you know, regress 2 seasons later, and you fire the coach and bring in somebody else. So, all right, if Chelsea was interested, I could say, cool, that makes sense. But teams like with young players like Napoli, and that's the other thing, the youth of the players, you really want that influence in your locker room.
Right, and I think even coming out after the interview with Piers Morgan and thing, I think a lot of coaches will be like, we really want this boy.
But, you know, as I say, you'll say that, but there were plenty teams that were lining up to, not plenty teams, sorry. There were teams who would have been interested, but just not with the numbers quoted. You know what I mean? And to me, some of those teams should have been like, no, I'm not interested, period. You know what I mean? I'm not interested, period. So but I think he can be an effective player still, but not in any of the top clubs, because none of them play that way anymore. None of them want a man who's just, you know, make runs in and around the box to pop up, to put away the ball and basically does nothing else. I don't know anybody who needs that. But at the end of his Portugal career, we would think, well, at least at the World Cup, admit.
Yeah.
Well, no, he could come back for the Euros.
Yeah, I know what to say. He could probably do Euros. He'd be 39.
You would drop him? They'll have a new coach.
Here's my thing, and I'm not saying I would drop him based on his age, right? I'll drop him based on his attitude. That's because that could get very toxic for a team now, boy. You understand what I'm saying? That is my only issue with him. Because the thing is with Messi a bit younger. Messi's what, 35?
2 years younger.
Yeah, 2 years younger than him. But you could still see Messi, even if he is part of a team, and he could only come on and play 15 minutes. The amount of the influence he would have on the team
will be largely positive.
Exactly.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And could make a difference now, boy, having him around a team. So that is why I say
I agree because look, you're seeing now, and this is really show you how two people could look at the same thing and just see, because of the biases, they just see what they want to see. Because one would have thought that all of the arguments about whether Ronaldo is in decline or not would be done, right? One would have thought that, having looked at the World Cup, that would have been done. There'd have been no jackass out here trying to. Nobody would take away what he was, right? But anybody who trying to tell you, nah, he's still just as good as he was a couple of years ago, it's just that Ten Hag would know how to use him or whatever. You'd have thought that after the World Cup, that would have been done, right? But look, they come and they lose. And Luis Figo, big player, that I once respected before he moved to Real Madrid, he came out and was essentially parroting the jackassness that Ronaldo fanboys out there saying, blaming the coach for not starting him. And I'm like, fuck, I hear here, boy. What are you really telling me? He came on essentially at the 50-minute mark. Because one thing with Santos, and I people criticize him for all kind of different things, but one thing I would give him credit for is when he realized things weren't going right against Morocco, he panicked. He pressed the panic button early, right? Now, some people might say that's not good, you shouldn't panic. But one of the things you hate to see is like what England coach did, this big jackass, who watched the game not really needing a change and didn't bring on players till after they went down 2-1, you know what I mean? Or until it was too late for Sterling to affect the game.
But I think I said that last week. I was like, England problem was the coach. You understand what I'm saying? I said if England coach did the right thing, I think they would have beat France, you know. Well,
I don't think they would have.
And I'm not saying they were gonna walk through.
Yeah, I hear you, but France. The thing is, France always had a second gear to go to, which is why I'm so angry with all these people who trying to give England credit for playing good football. You know, they should have won the game. Should have won.
No, I'm not saying they should have won how they played. You understand what I'm saying?
The thing I would have said is that England, and I always said this, England and Brazil were the only two teams equipped to beat France. In terms of the talent around the field that could beat France. Because what you need against France is a multi-pronged attack so that you don't have... They don't have the ability to just hone in on one person,
right,
and just spring Mbappe and Dembele down the wings whenever they felt like, right? Those two players will always be an issue to deal with, especially Mbappe. But if you have an attack of your own that keeps the midfield and the defenders and especially fullbacks, keeps them on their toes, then they can't play the dominant type of football that they want to. But maybe if they had a different coach, they might have won. I wouldn't say they would have won, but they might have won. They certainly had the tools to do better than they did. And Gareth Southgate, being the jackass that he is and the overly conservative coach that he is, he watched the game whittle away. But the point, we'll get back to that in a second, but the point I was making about Portugal was that Fernando Santos sent on not just Ronaldo, but he sent the cavalry on early in the second half. He didn't wait. They went in 1-0 down. He didn't come out and watch them waste more time and knock around the ball doing this thing. Say, nah, fuck that. Make the changes. Start to live in Morocco's half of the field. And so Ronaldo essentially played, if you count the 10 minutes of extra time that they had, of stoppage time that they had, Ronaldo essentially played 50 minutes of that game and had one shot on goal. In a game where Portugal was doing nothing but camping in Morocco's half.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to tell me that if he had started, it would have made a difference? If that's when he came on the field, when all that was happening was essentially attack versus defense. The ball was hardly ever going into Portugal's half of the field. They were pummeling Morocco's goal, and he couldn't find nothing but one shot. So you're trying to tell me when, in the beginning of the game, when Portugal would have been playing more reserved and there would have been more...
Yeah, the slower part of the game, you put on when you need you. When you need you, this is your time, you know. We won 0 down now. This is your time.
This was for you to come on and say, you see, this is why you should start me.
Mm-hmm.
And you were anonymous essentially for the entire second half. João Felix had more shots on goal than you in the second half, not just in the whole game. Who was the next guy? Somebody else had more shots on goal than him in the second half, right? And all Portugal was doing was attacking. All they were doing. And you could make no difference. But man like Figo out here being like P.S. Morgan. You know what I'm saying? Now his girlfriend say, okay, she come out with his statement, and he sister, cause them guys, all them just do. Them just, sit down on social media, essentially licking Ronaldo balls, right? But that's fine. That's their family. That's your family should be doing that shippiness. But, Luis Figo coming out and criticizing the coach. If I was the coach, I don't want to deal with that. Because Fernando Santos is gone now. So they're going to have a new coach, right? If I was a new coach, I come in, I don't want to deal with that. I'm not calling him up. I don't want him coming and then all that drama, and then if I take him off, it's a scene and I had to explain myself in some press conference. No, it done. Why he would even want to continue is beyond me. Well, I shouldn't say why, because it's him. But you would think he would say, "Oh God, I've had my time."
No, and as I say, it's just too much drama surrounding the individual. So I could understand anybody saying, "I want to distance myself." I could understand it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I don't want any part. If I was a coach, he's not bringing that much value to the team. We have young players who we want to now bring into the new Portugal, the new crop of stars, and let me just go with that. And because he here for his own scene.
Yeah.
He here for his own scene. He here for his own glory. He here for his own, you know what I mean?
And clearly, one shot in the game that sent all the home. Clearly, he ain't there for your own glory, as he should be.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm sure he's going to blame all kind of things in the past. Because, the girlfriend say? The girlfriend say on Instagram or wherever she posted that the game changed when he came on. Like his only Ronaldo barely got onto the ball at all. The game didn't change because he came on. The game changed because Fernando Santos changed tactics. I saying his name right? It's Fernando's his first name. I know Santos is his name, but all of a sudden that song weird to me. But yeah, he changed the tactics in the second half and pressed high up the field because he needed a goal. And he didn't just bring on Ronaldo. He brought on Ronaldo, Rafael, João Cancelo. He brought on a whole lot of attacking talent. But that's what she's out there saying. And unfortunately, and it would irritate me if I'm a professional coach and I deal with that kind of jackassness. I deal with, with journalists now because she's saying that, but that's going to influence people now to ask him questions, And like, why didn't start Ronaldo? I was like, what do you mean, why? You watched the game before? I started another Saturday and the man scored a hat trick.
Yeah.
What are you trying to tell me? You understand what I'm saying? Why would any sensible coach change that? Now they can say, well, because Switzerland is Switzerland, but it's Morocco.
Right,
all of us had Morocco to this humongous side. Like if anybody thought Morocco would have been a bigger test than Switzerland, what should they telling me?
And right, and I start how I started before and realize it's not working, so I have the opportunity to change and I change it to C. And
the man had 50 minutes. To make an impact. Was it a man from France come on today and score in 24 seconds?
I think it's 42 seconds.
Some kind of thing, so right?
Yeah.
You such a big one, dog. You could be on the field with your team peppering the next team goal, and you could make zero difference for 50 minutes. And you trying to tell me it would have been different if it had started. And as I say, Luis Figo talking that talk, dog. Not me or some jackass who don't know what he talking about or whatever. Luis Figo. Brazil, Croatia was the other one I wanted to talk about. That was a crazy. I really didn't see that one coming.
I honestly, I still don't watch the game. It's very vague. I have very vague memory right now. What can I do now, bitch? Yeah. Why? Somebody can't even remember what I eat for breakfast, boy. Yeah, that's like walking my life, you know. Big man thing. But I'm watching the game. And, you know, people as it that that's the game that went to penalties.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people cursing on the man who took the first penalty for Brazil. They say
Rodrigo. I mean, they cursing on him or they cursing the fact that Neymar didn't take the first one.
They cursing the fact that they say he should not been. He should not take the first penalty. But my thing is, okay, where would you have put him to take the penalty? You know?
Well, that's the age-old argument, which I don't ever understand why people get involved in that. Because if you say it, you take your best, you put your best penalty takers to set the tone, right? But you also need your best penalty takers to finish if necessary.
If things go wrong somewhere along the line.
I find it's a stupid argument to have. No, it is always, people always say, you know, it hard to go out on penalties not seeing the best penalty taker take a penalty, right? So the fact that some people would say is that Marquinhos should not take the last one, right? Once Neymar realized that, hey, this was a do or die one, then he should have stopped Marquinhos, because apparently these days it's not set in stone. They don't write it on a piece of paper and hand it to the referee anymore. So the referee can't tell you, no, I have you at number 5, you can't take number 4. So they're saying, you know, he could have told Marquinhos, nah, don't beat up. I go take this one. Because if we miss this one, it's all over. So let me take this one and take chances with the second one. But argument could be made, okay, right, well, if he had hit that one and Croatia had scored, then Marquinhos would have to take the 5th one anyway, right? And he would have hit the post anyway. You know what I mean? There would have been no difference because both of them would have been pressure penalties. Even if Marquinhos had scored that, Brazil still had to make the last, and Croatia had scored theirs, Brazil would have still had to make the last penalty in order to carry it to sudden death. So both of them were pressure penalties anyway. So I just find the argument about whether or not they should take. I just found Rodrigo, he shouldn't take that penalty because clearly he couldn't handle the pressure, but the coach wouldn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, he playing for Real. He you know, and I think we were talking about this the last time when we were talking about the Euros. At the end of the day, right? This is not a school where they bring to play football.
Yeah.
He's playing football professionally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right?
So from the time he stepped up to take the penalty, he looked like a man who was full of nerves, but trying to pretend he didn't have nerves. And that's why he take that. He put on the ball and he run up fast and shoot because he trying to show, I'm not bothered by this. But from the time he's walking with the ball, he looked like a man who was nervous, but he wants you to believe he calm and collected now. And so, but the coach wouldn't know that. The coach wouldn't know that's what you would do. Because that was an awful penalty, though. That was awful.
But the thing is, as I say, he's a professional and he's expected to show up and do his job, and he didn't do it well.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're a Brazil fan and your heart burning here, you'll be upset, and that's fine. You know, but he's a professional, and
the issue should be taken with the fact that the game never should have gone to penalties in the first place. But it went to penalties because Brazil underestimated Croatia. They disrespected Croatia, as a matter of fact. I was on the road when the game was being played, right? And because in my mind, I am not saying I don't have to fight up to that game that them Brazil go and thump up Croatia, right? I don't say, okay, if Argentina beat Netherlands, go with that Brazil semi-finals, that pressure, all right, but whatever, that will happen. They beat them in the Copas, hopefully they can beat them again. So I wasn't even bothered. When I came up the road, I reached by my in-laws there, and I hear football still going on. I was like, that game can't still be going on. Yeah, the game's still going on. But when I watch, it's 1-0 in the 109th minute, right? I was like, them carry this game to extra time? Because, well, if it's 1-0 in the 109th 110th minute or something like that, and it's not stoppage time, then clearly that ended 0-0 and that goal had to score.
That's what when, because they scored in the first half of the extra time.
Yeah. Was it 190? I can't remember, but it was into extra time and it was 1-0.
They scored very close to the end of the first half of the extra time.
Right.
Because as they score, was Croatia come on, they like running like monsters, dude. I think I and all with a girl would have set up and what the hell I'm told you? We all was all the time.
Right.
There's a whole different team come on here now.
In the second half of the extra time?
In the first half of the extra time, right after Brazil scored, was them fellas just running like monsters.
You mean they immediately?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it didn't have much to play after that.
Right.
But the way they charge at Brazil, they'd be like, whoa, there's a whole new team come on here.
Yeah.
You understand?
Right.
So I was like, wait, boy, they come for it. And then,
they score. And so I saw Croatia's equalizer and then I saw the penalty shootout. But then I went, because I was confused. I just couldn't, in my mind, them there wasn't paying full attention to the game and, they're really too into football too. So I can't really get, I try to understand, how did this happen? How did Brazil allow this to reach the extra time at 0-0? You know what I mean? And then I watched the rerun of the game in the evening and I was like, oh, I understand. Brazil was arrogant. Brazil was said, basically, especially in the first half, they was like, we're not chasing no ball, you matter. Croatia, let them keep passing the ball, we're not chasing no ball. They go lose the ball in a crucial area, we go take it and we go do Brazil things. And we will score. And it will happen. And they basically allowed 45 minutes of that game to just be whittled away by Croatia. They just Casemiro was the only man chasing down Brozovic and Modric and Kovacic. He was the only one chasing them down. You understand? In the second half, they finally apply some urgency and they start to create chances and they should have scored. Right? But then it looked like when it reached 75 minutes or so, I don't know if it's fear started kicking, they started to feel like, all right, we don't want to press too high up the field now because if they score now, then not gonna be drama. So it's almost like the two teams was like, all right, let it go to extra time. You know what I mean? And I was like, why Brazil doing it? Because they just thought they discounted Croatia. Like, what's this shit side? We're gonna beat them. You see what we do against South Korea? Dog, this waste of time here. And then they score. This is it. And if you want further evidence that they disrespected Croatia, they score a goal in extra time. The game has maybe 6 minutes left in it, right? Why is more than half the Brazil team in Croatia's half of the field? Why?
Yeah, it's at points where it's at about 8 men on Croatia's side. They feel like, whoa.
And not only, and the thing is, they won't, because what I hear people saying, well, you see, that's the thing, them Brazilians don't know how to play defensive football. They want to score all the time. But they wasn't pressing to score though. They was trying to play past tiki-taka, not tiki-taka, but they're trying to play fancy possession. And that's why they lose the ball, because Anthony, twice, just before Croatia went on the counter-attack, he tried to play a 1-2 with Neymar, but again, passing the ball, casual, pretty boy thing. I think the ball went out the first time. They won the ball back and he tried another 1-2 with Neymar and was lazy with the pass. Croatia get back. Modric spin out of the tackle and that was that. Why are they doing that? Because they didn't respect Croatia. They thought, hey, we's Brazil, dog. We, that performance against South Korea gassed them up so much, dog. Them come out feeling his futsal thing, his beach football, we having fun. And Anthony come and throw the ball twice. And on top of that, you do that. Because it's one thing if Brazil was still peppering Croatia's goal, if they were up there and they were putting Croatia under pressure, but they weren't. They was trying to run to the corner flag and they're trying to play.
Yeah.
So why it all the up in the front in the half of the field that we're gonna do? When it should be, okay, let Neymar and Anthony go up and try to hold up the ball and pass the ball to each other and try, because Neymar could go down. So let him shield the ball, we'll kick him down, we'll call a foul, we'll waste time. But it should not all of them fellas in the half of the field. And they did, and then they launched a counter attack, and that was that. And that is why them out. I still maintain Brazil was the best team in this tournament. Talent-wise, best team in this tournament. And in terms of playing as a team as well, hands down, the best team in this tournament. And they should have been going on with that trophy, dog. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't want it to happen. But they should have been going on with that trophy. But they're home, and you had to blame the coach, because I feel the coach didn't keep their feet on the ground after that South Korea.
Yeah,
he let them get carried away, though.
Yeah, he had that conversation with them.
Yeah, he and all get carried away because he and all was getting involved in the pigeon dance thing, and and that's what people didn't like too. All the celebration, the dancing, Brazil. I don't have a problem with that. That's what he's do. That's what Brazilers do. But I think the coach and all got carried away in trying to encourage them fellas to have fun. Like he might be feel, to get the best out of these fellas, we had to let them have fun and express themselves on the field. That's cool. We had to keep them disciplined and serious, and them fellas didn't take Croatia seriously at all.
So let me ask you about the Argentina Netherlands game now.
Yeah.
How you feel about that? Because I am one of the things that I realized Netherlands and what they did is when they went down, they
bring on the tall man.
Yeah, they bring on the tall man and they switch up the game one time now.
Yeah.
And I will always applaud a coach for being able to make those kind of switch now. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but the age-old argument would be, why didn't this play so from the beginning? Why wait till he went 2-0 down? Or even if from the beginning, why not do it when you're 1-0 down? I think Louis van Gaal just is one of them coaches who think he's real bright. I think he think he's much more clever than maybe he really is, or maybe he's overcomplicate the football. I think if he had played, if he had attempted to play a little bit higher up the pitch all game long, even with Memphis Depay and Bergwijn, with them as the strike force, all he needed to do is press Argentina a little bit higher up the field. You know what I mean? Rodrigo de Paul was really losing the ball, but he was losing the ball in areas where the Dutch only had like one man pressing him, and when he won the ball, there was nobody to play the ball to. So he would turn his back and they would have to go back and start over, or he would try to advance on his own and he'd lose the ball. If the Netherlands was playing with a little bit higher up the pitch,
I was real confused about that tactic now. Where like, why they were playing like that? Like they're trying to hold back the rest of the team. I was like, what's going on here? How come this man barely has support up there now?
Well, I don't know why Van Gaal chooses to play that way. As I say, he used to coach Barca a long time, and he was one of them players who coaches who came and overcomplicated the thing, right? And the thing with him is that when it works, but then he's feel like, then it go work all the time, and then it do work. And so with Barca, when he was coaching, he win a couple league titles, but Champions League get turned over by Valencia when he had no right getting turned over by Luis Figo, Rivaldo, Kluivert, all in flying form though. They didn't have but it's because he insisted on playing a particular way. And he used to get criticized for it while he was at Barca. But he kind of like Mourinho, he just feel like, well, once I get results, you can't question me. And so he got through the competition playing this overly tactical football thing, saying, listen, we don't have the best attackers in the world, so we're gonna play in a kind of reserved way and pick our moments when we're going to go forward and put the other team under pressure. But what that translated to against Argentina is that he never put anybody under pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
He never put anybody under pressure until he switched on. And my thing is, you could have brought on Memphis Depay and whoever the tall man name is, I can't remember his name now, the one who scored both goals, right? I think because Memphis Depay is one of those forwards who a target man could play off of because he's good at holding up the ball, and he could link up with another target man. And so it's not like if you couldn't bring on the tall man and have that in swinging option, that ball into the box option. He could not have done that before he took off both Bergwijn and Memphis Depay. That could have happened, but he didn't. He waited until they went down 2-0, and then he brought on the cavalry and just tell them fellas lump the ball into the box. and you'd ask yourself again, okay, so you just did that and you came back from 2-0 down and you equalized. Why when extra time start? Why didn't continue?
Yeah, why didn't continue? Because
why didn't continue? Argentina, all of the defenders about 5 feet tall. The reason why it was so hard for them to cope with it is because they don't have the height.
Yeah.
They don't have the height. And you saw how indisciplined Argentina could be when you put them under pressure. The reason they went into extra time was that the free kick, and basically last kick of the ball.
Yeah.
Why the fuck you falling there, man? On the top of the box. The man is, he's collecting the ball with his back to goal. What do you fall? And it's the most clumsy fall in the world. Just run straight into the back. What are you doing that for? It's stupidity, dog. But you put them under pressure. You had them on the ropes. You get it to extra time. Argentina were 2 seconds away from winning the game, from going into the semifinals, and you scored with almost the very last kick of the ball. Right? So you would have the momentum. You should have come and started the extra time doing the same thing you were doing in the last 3 minutes of the game. So I can respect Van Gaal because he's a clown. And then he said before the game, if they went to penalties, he trusts their goalkeeper, but they have a better goalkeeper. So no, that didn't happen. So he is one of them. I think he's very arrogant, and he has way more faith in himself than I think he deserves. And that's why Holland home now. Because again, it's not like they couldn't beat Argentina. They could have beaten Argentina, but they didn't utilize what was at the disposal.
Well, as I say, I respect him in that situation for being able to switch.
But plenty coaches do that, especially that.
But that's some who don't do.
The only ones who I know would do, and even Pep Guardiola did that at times, where he would bring Piqué from centre back and let him play centre forward when Barca needed goals, and would lump the ball into the box and hope somebody get a head onto it.
He's barely do that with Man City though.
Yeah, but he's hardly ever need to. That's the thing. It's not like if Man City doesn't have faith in their ability to create chances playing their ball. So, because, okay, in this particular instance, Argentina found it difficult to deal with the balls into the box. But let's say they didn't. Then he could have tried that tactic. It would have been just as ineffective as what was going on earlier in the game. But he would have, in his mind, he started the way he started because he thought that gave him a better chance to score.
Which is weird, because if you know the players were shorter, then you should have started with...
Well, true, but I mean, look, Australia played against Argentina in the round before. Australia had probably the tallest man I ever see play football in my life, right? And they just couldn't utilize his height. They lumped ball into the box, but just nothing was happening, right? Crosses sometimes off. Sometimes the players might be short, but they're able to put off the tall man, so he can't get a good head onto the ball. He can't control it. He can't, you know what I mean? So there's no guarantee necessarily that and also he brought Virgil van Dijk up from the back. So Virgil van Dijk also wasn't defending, right? He was playing.
Yeah, he was playing
centre forward. He was playing. Well, yeah, I guess centre forward alongside the other tall man, right?
Yeah.
So that's not an ideal plan. You can have Van Dijk playing up there. So he would think that was a desperation tactic. But plenty teams do that. If Argentina losing in the final and it a goal down and it's 2 minutes left, they don't have any tall man, but they would bring the tallest person, whoever it is, Romero, from the back and tell him play centre forward, because that's what he's trying to do.
But I say somebody who actually threw off their team is England, because Foden, to me, in that game, the England-France game, had some of the best crosses I see from the English team in that game. So why he took off Foden though? That's
why he took off Saka? Saka was the danger man.
But
Saka was causing havoc.
Yeah,
everywhere.
but I think I understood I understood what they were doing, Saka. But France was because they play a real physical game against Saka now, boy. And I think the reason for that was one, he young, and two, and being young, I don't think he was able to manage his emotion. They thought he would not have been able to manage emotions.
No, they just can't defend. Upamecano and Tchouaméni is not a defender, but that tackle, because he gave away the penalty against Saka, right? And
because it had a penalty that they should have given England earlier on with Saka too. But he just didn't fall. If he had fallen, they would have...
I can't remember that. There was the Tchouaméni's goal came after Upamecano fouled Saka. But they didn't go back and review that and call off the goal because he was fouled. But he was clearly fouled by Upamecano. There was a foul where Upamecano tripped Harry Kane, but it was just outside the box. So they didn't call that penalty. You talking about that one. I can't remember who. I know I can't remember that one. But
yeah, it's one with Saka. He was going through and
right.
It was they missed the ball and kicked the man, but he stumbled some and tried to continue. Right. And he had kind of, but he didn't fully get through.
Yeah.
And I was like, if he had fall, they would have had to check it.
They would have to check it. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. First of all, you see the man struggling, the ball gone.
Yeah.
And he is still struggling to get through.
Yeah.
I think that's a reason to check that, but they didn't.
They didn't.
Yeah. Right. Whatever.
But they can't defend. They cannot defend. Look, Theo Hernandez, that foul on Mason Mount. That's mad people think, dog. Because I was watching the game with my brethren who wanted England to lose bad, right? And he was like, when he saw that, he nearly lose his mind. He's like, what are you doing? Because we both saw it as a penalty. The referee didn't call it. VAR had to tell him. He man is staring at that. Happened right in front of his face. I need VAR to tell him that a shoulder to back is not.
Yeah.
Theo Hernandez, trying to say that is not shoulder to shoulder is fine. But not shoulder to back. You're a fool hour.
Listen, when I saw that and I saw the referee, I said, wait, this referee had to take money. Yeah. This man just running to the man. Just so you know, dog. And it's a boop. Like
the ball. Listen, even if Mount control that ball, dog, there's so much you could do to contain him, and it don't even look like he was going to control the ball. The ball sailing over him. What you do that for, bro? What you do that for? But Harry Kane sent the ball in row 10, and that was the end of that. But they can't defend. Saka was getting them beans because he was as a handful, and they can't defend. They put them under pressure and they cannot defend.
But they real abuse that youth, man, dog.
I mean, he was making it. He was dealing with it. I don't know if he was tired, but I just find take him off to bring on Sterling, and Sterling never impacted the game.
Somehow Sterling, I find his real disappear on our field. Even we playing for now. He's playing for Man
Chelsea.
City. He gone Chelsea now. Yeah. Right. But even in Man City, I find he just disappear on the field. Also, like,
yeah, I guess. In this instance, by the time he came on, France had double up on that side of the field, so it was hard for him to find space to run into. But I think he lacks in football intelligence that Saka has. And so Saka was finding his spaces even when they were trying to clog it. And I'm telling you, if Saka was still on that field and they were playing through him, they would have got next penalty.
Because
them fellas were sacking like crazy people. Crazy people. Which is why I wish Morocco had gotten the ball in the box a little bit more today. Now, to be fair, Upamecano didn't play. This boy Konate played in his place today because he was sick. So I don't know and Konate played pretty well today. Didn't make as many stupid challenges as Upamecano. So I don't know if they might keep him in any fight. I wish they play Upamecano because he is awful. He's atrocious. He's extremely. He tackles out of control all the time. So, England. The thing is, I still feel France would have had, because England refused to let their talent loose, because Southgate has this conservative idea of how to play. I think they would have never won that game. Even if they equalized, France would have just come back and score again. You know what I mean? Because, after all of that drama England did to get back in the game and equalize, not too long after that, France, Giroud come and get the header save and then boom, he score again. Because that's what France could do that. They could do that to any team. And so to beat France, you have to come out and take the game to them. Take the game to them, keep them under sustained pressure, and finish your chances when they get them. But England didn't do that.
But they did kind of lock down Mbappe though.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody's talking about how he outrun Kyle Walker, which is, I mean, great, cool.
No, he outrun anybody.
Yeah. So, but other than that, I think they kind of team him a bit. More than Morocco team them.
Well, I beg to differ. Really, I think. Okay, he had a much more direct impact in the second goal today, but he had an impact in both France goals, especially the first one. The reason why Declan Rice and John Stones weren't closer to Tchouaméni to close him down is because it was concerned about Mbappe.
Right, yeah.
They were concerned about the run he was going to make, and they were both of them had their eyes on him. And I mean, to be fair, Tchouaméni did hit a worldie, but again, it's because the eyes were on Mbappe. The second goal, if I'm not mistaken, I think what happened was Mbappe cut in, went past two players, caused a mix-up, and then the ball gets out to Griezmann, who's wide open, or under no pressure, I should say, to cross into Giroud.
And Giroud scored the header.
And Giroud scores the header. You know, so it's because Mbappe destabilizes the defense so badly. That's why everybody else has benefit from that. Because
I listen, I agree with that. Don't get me wrong. And that's also important. And I am one of the people who thought that was supposed to be Cristiano Ronaldo's role in Man U, was for people to focus on him so the other players could have executed that way. Yeah, so I understand that it's happened.
No, but he's not nearly as deadly as anymore.
Yeah, right? So, and we had to thank God because Giroud and them, this year he played real good, but the last World Cup,
well, he didn't score any goals in the last World Cup, but his movement was again created a lot of space for players. Giroud is one because Giroud, you would know, he's now the all-time leading goal scorer for France, right? And it's because he's played well whenever he plays for France.
Right.
The last World Cup he didn't have such a good run. There was the arguments in the last Euros, where he was saying how he's making runs and the ball not coming, basically saying Mbappe was selfish. Yeah. But it seems like they sorted that out now. And now,
so I think I thought I didn't think that Giroud would have shown up.
No, Giroud is a goal scorer, bro. He's a goal scorer. You understand? And the thing is, he's going to look better because he's playing with much better players. Same thing with Griezmann. People trying to convince me that Griezmann is, some gem of a player. No, I'm not saying Griezmann is shit, right? I'm not, obviously. But Griezmann played for 2 seasons at Barcelona and never found consistency. Now, you could say maybe like Messi was there, and Messi just make it hard in terms of the way he's run. He might occupy some spaces. Griezmann he's gone back to Atletico Madrid under the same coach he was shining under before he came to Barca. He's not looking very good there either, right? So I appreciate he's been very good in the tournament, but you also have to understand that's not necessarily because Griezmann is the top player anymore. It's because he's playing. He's able to pick passes out because there's so much space. Because you cannot hone in on him and then leave Dembele on the right, or worse yet, leave Mbappe on the left, or not pay attention to Giroud making runs into the box in the middle. So he has all the space and time in the world. So he's going to look like the greatest player in the world. Giroud as well. He scored for AC Milan, but not with as much regularity as he's scoring now.
Right.
Because he doesn't play with Mbappe. You know what I mean? France has so many weapons that, it's difficult. It makes the game easy for each one of the individual weapons that they have. Easier. Because, as much as Mbappe has just been running past people, in this. It's not like if he don't do that every game in league, and probably PSG don't win every game.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he play with Messi and Neymar up front. So and teams in France have learned how to neutralize that push and run tactic that he's using, right? So it's not obviously it's not every day he's do that, but why is it so effective now? It's because France is a very, very talented team and they've compiled. It's difficult for any team to play against them because there's no one you could hone in on. No one of the weapons you could just say, all right, now we'll forget Giroud in the middle there. We could just, whenever he make any run, because the left side centre back, pull out to the wing and help him and call that judge.
The thing is, with the speed that Mbappe has, it kind of forces you to put two people to focus on him, right? Or you had to have a super defender who really know the game, right? And once you have two people there, that is it.
I don't know why they keep giving him the byline though. I don't understand. I cannot understand why they keep feeling like the best, like they could outrun him and stop him from reaching the touchline. Like, no, he's gonna pass, he's gonna cut in. And when he cuts into the box now it's a different. If from outside the 18-yard box, you shepherd him inside where there's help one time, then at least even if he has to be fouled, he's now fouled outside the box.
Yeah.
But when you feel you could. No, I could run and you can't turn the corner on me. Of course he's going to turn the corner on you. But when he turns the corner by the byline now. And he's now in the box.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? So he's either going to pick out a pass or he's going to cut back in and take a shot himself. And you can't touch him. So I don't understand why they keep showing him the outside as opposed to trying to shepherd him in. And I mean, maybe he's just that fast, but I've seen like even today when Hakimi, a couple of times when he was one-on-one with Hakimi, and you think Hakimi being his teammate at PSG would know, nah, don't give him the outside. You're not stopping him. He is going to run past you and he is going to cut in. But to be fair to Morocco, he did all that and it was only when he went into the middle that he really caused a problem. You know what I mean? That he really caused a problem and led to the second goal. So all that push and run thing, in the end, you could say they kind of dealt with it. And they dealt with it at a point in time when they were pressing high up the field. So it's not like if they were allowed to be very defensive, you know?
And not give him room.
So
before we wrap it up, finals.
Yeah.
How they take it? I mean, Argentina fan. So
I was so upset when England failed to beat them because I will tell you, France was the team I feared from the beginning of the tournament. They played Argentina in the last World Cup, put Argentina out in the last World Cup. Same thing, speed.
And Argentina and France is seeming to be a deadlier side in this World Cup than last World Cup. To me.
No.
Because Giroud, as I say, Giroud on point. I think Mbappe has improved since. Right, his touches has improved since. So
that Pogba in the last World Cup, Pogba was balling. Kante was cleaning up everything. Anything in any. Look how much teams put in France under pressure when they attack in this World Cup. Why? Because Kante not there protecting the back four.
Right.
That wasn't happening in the last World Cup. The last World Cup, the 2 goals Argentina lost 4-2 against France, right? The first goal was a Di Maria bullet from outside the box. Nothing anybody could do to stop that. It was just a worldie of a goal. And then, because France scored first, they got a penalty because Mbappe pushed the ball from he won the ball. Argentina lost the ball in the middle of their half. They pushed the ball forward to Mbappe, and Mbappe basically built a man from like 10 meters away, Marcos Rojo. And he couldn't catch up to him, and he pulled him down in the box. And then France got a penalty and scored. Di Maria equalized just before halftime, and then in the second half, France just ran all over them. Mbappe scored again. Pavard scored. I can't remember who scored the fourth. I think Pogba scored the fourth. So it was 2 goals for Mbappe. Benjamin Pavard scored, and then Pogba scored.
Wouldn't you say France has a better forward line in this World Cup?
No.
You don't feel so well?
No, Griezmann was better then. Griezmann as a player in total was a better player then. I think who they played with up front. I think they played with. I can't remember the formation, but they had much more ballers in the squad. And like I say, they were not giving up anything on defense. Now France, the team is. Because they were scoring goals, see how much goals they're scoring now? They were doing that in the last World Cup, right? As I said, they beat Argentina 4-2. And at the second goal Argentina scored was like in the dying embers of the game, Messi crossed a ball and I think Aguero scored when it was like in the 91st when the game was done, right? So they really should have been like 4-1. They beat up Croatia in the final. Like I can't remember however much it ended, 5-2 or 5. It was some. I think it's 4 they won by again in the finals. So France was turning up people in the last one too, and they weren't looking as susceptible on defense. In this one, look if Morocco had a finisher today, bro.
Yeah, they'd have been nice.
They'd have punished them. Even Poland ended up scoring now. It was in the dying embers of the game again too, but even Poland ended up scoring against them. They couldn't even keep a clean sheet against Poland. Tunisia beat them when Mbappe wasn't playing. You understand what I'm saying? The game, they lost the game in this tournament. You think? So they're not a better team now than they were then. Without a doubt, they're not a better team now than they were then. But they're still a very deadly team. Dembele was injured for the last World Cup, right? I think he played in one game and then he was injured. So he wasn't part of the dynamic. But so him being there gives them a speed threat on the right as well as the left, right? But no, they're not a better team. They're not a better team at all. And Argentina are not a better team. Well, Argentina are not more talented than they were then. Messi's 4 years older, not as easily able to take the game by the scruff of the neck if he has to. And I think all the players around him in that tournament were better. Now they're playing better as a team now, right? They found a way to get all those players to play essentially for Messi, make up for his inability to run back and so on. They didn't have that. They weren't doing that in the last World Cup. So yes, I give them, they're playing as a better unit now, but they don't have better talent around them. The people around him aren't any better. Lautaro is not any better. Di Maria isn't any better. Julian Alvarez, I think he wasn't there the last one. He's there now. Okay, maybe you could see he might be a little bit more of a danger man. Rodrigo de Paul isn't any better. None of the players. Otamendi isn't any better, and Otamendi is old, you know. So it is all in all, Argentina had no business beating France. It's my side, so I'm hoping against hope. I'm hoping something could go on. I was hoping Morocco could have pulled off a miracle today to spare me that. And everybody say, but how you could say that you can want to play Morocco if Morocco beat France? Nah, brother. I would always want to play the team with less potential. Right. Because anybody could win on any given day.
And I think Red Bull is get a mix up, but I don't know after that. But Red Bull, I feel if this team could beat this team, that's not how it works now. Each team have their own dynamic. Each team
exactly.
Right?
And what happens on the day? Because what? So Argentina in the finals, right? So then Saudi Arabia should be in the finals too, because they beat Argentina. You know what I mean? So if Morocco could have pulled off a miracle today, it would have been much easier for Argentina to face them in the finals than to face France. And any Argentine, anybody tell you Argentina would rather face, you mad or they don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with that pace, because it's really the pace. Everything else is okay. We could develop tactics to deal with it, but Mbappe is that raw pace is too much problem. It's destabilized defense. And Argentina already has defenders that like to dive in and like to play wild. And there was one thing I wanted to mention before we close out on the World Cup thing. Remember last week we was talking about African football and how, the federations don't seem to be doing a good job. recruiting foreign players to play for the teams now, right? And it just so happens that, well, as if you don't know, Morocco has the largest number of foreign-born players on their team. 14 of the 26, more than half the team, not born in Morocco, right? Not born, never live, nothing. Some of them don't even speak Arabic. They don't, right? So this is an article I found because I was watching an interview where they were talking to one of the Moroccan homegrown players, and they were asking him if there was any tension in the camp with respect to, the foreigners. And he said no. He said, well, first of all, you have to understand that the federation has been recruiting these players to play for our national team for years now. So it's not like if the tension that you'll have in the locker room where where players would have been, like this crop of players got the teams to the tournament. And then they just went and when they come and replace them, they went and finally, it wasn't like that. He said, well, they have been training with us at youth level and so on. So we are familiar with them. So we all have a camaraderie in the locker room. Now, he could have been making that up, but the point is, that's what he said. But I went actually, because he was also talking about, apparently in Morocco, they established some academy to help develop homegrown players, and they've been having their youth teams trained solely by coaches developed through the academy now. Okay. So I was like, oh, Morocco's structure is pretty good. So I went to research it, right? So this was from 2016. This is the Moroccan World News, right? So the title is Morocco to recruit Moroccans in the diaspora to play for national football team. Right. We are in a position that we can look at players internally, but also from outside the country. The Dutch coach told World Soccer in Rabat, because they hired him to work as the director of performance development with the federation. Right? So he's not the coach of the team, but he also is a coach. We have held training camps that have included youngsters from Spain, Italy, Holland, Germany, and France. They qualify through their parents and grandparents. Recruiting Moroccans living abroad will ensure that the national teams will have players with diverse skills necessary to succeed. He says the one difference I have noticed is that the local players play a lot on instinct, whereas those who have come from abroad, in my opinion, are tactically more disciplined in their approach. It's our job to ensure that both styles merge for the benefit of football in this country. Wout, that's the guy's name, right? Began his position as head coach for national teams last December when the Royal Moroccan Football Federation tasked him with preparing the Moroccan national team for the next two Africa Under-20 championships in 2017 and 2019. In addition, Wout's responsibilities include grooming Morocco's future Under-23 team for the Tokyo Olympics 2020. So this is how far back this was, right? In addition to Morocco's 18-year absence from the World Cup, the national team has had little success at the African Cup of Nations. The Atlas Lions won the cup in 1976 and reached the finals in 2004. However, the team failed to pass preliminary matches in the last three competitions. So that is what Morocco did, recognizing how that they needed to get these foreign-based players to influence, to bring that balance to what they had homegrown. And they started going out and recruiting them from youth stages in these countries. Right.
I was 6 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's if you realize, he's the coach for the youth development, right? So he is not even talking about players like Hakimi and Ziyech, who play today. He's talking about I recruited men for under 16 and under 17 and under 20, bro.
Streamline the thing, to get the thing in order to bring up more players of quality.
Right, yeah, precisely. Because why wait until you reach 20, 23, 24 and you're not getting called up for Spain? Yeah. Why you want to come and play for Morocco? No, I come and hit you when you're 16. You have to make the decision now, because remember, they could play at youth level and still change your allegiance. But once I get you into my program, bro, once I get you gelling with my players, you playing at under 17, you play, and we progressing. Why Senegal ain't doing that? Why Cameroon ain't doing that? Why Ghana and Nigeria ain't doing that? Why Welbeck could say, nah boy, nobody from Ghana even approach me, bro. Nobody from the Ghana Federation ever even come and talk to me. And the only African team that seems to be doing that is the African team that
All right.
reached the semifinals.
Oh.
No, not that. What I'm saying is, you see,
Yeah.
you see, so I ain't trying to belabor the point, but I'm just saying, see the point I was making? The team that actually successful, that is what they're doing. So Hakim Ziyech, who born and grew up in Holland and could easily play for Holland side, though. He could easily make it into that team. And you know, as listening, is him or Hakimi? One of the two is Hakimi, who he born in Spain. And in the same interview, the guy was saying that that is Zidane. That is either this guy or the head of the Moroccan Federation apparently uses relationship with Zidane to call Hakimi and convince Hakimi to play for Morocco. That's just how aggressively they started to target these players. You know what I mean? But which begs the question, why Zidane didn't play for Algeria instead of France? But then again, he wasn't taking talent from France. He was taking talent from Spain.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess he didn't care.
Yeah.
But he helped to that is how aggressively the Moroccan Federation was recruiting these players. But yet still you have Mbolo scoring goals for Switzerland against Cameroon. Mad people think.
Well, I mean,
But you tell me who you think, who you backing or who you think.
well, the thing is, I just want to see the good game, but I remember that I don't really have favorites. I just want to see how it would pan out. If I had to back anybody, I think my chips would be on France in this situation. Yeah.
Well, you think Ronaldo commit suicide if Messi win?
Probably, you know. Because
I had to put him on there.
Yeah, on watch. I think right now he feeling sick, you know.
Well, of course, but it will be worse
if he hold
if Messi gets to lift that
trophy,
up there.
Yeah.
Problem. But I mean, obviously, I wish that would happen. We ain't too sure. We had Argentina to pull off a miracle.
Nah, well, we waiting to see because anything can happen on any day. That's football for you too.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So, today when I see the Moroccan defender clean up Mbappe and I see twist the ankle.
Yes, I
was like, yes. I know people say, well, you shouldn't think. And listen, I ain't want the man to dead. I just don't want the man play Sunday. He could continue the rest of his career. You know what I mean? Just don't play Sunday. You know what I mean? But then he get up and started running around. So, but I know a man could get a red card in the game. Who knows? He could switch the game. Who knows? But a man told me today is like LeBron against the Warriors. The 2015,
right?
2015 LeBron against the Warriors. It could be like Messi, trying to drag Argentina over the line against France. But hopefully, it's like LeBron 2016.
Well, I think anything can happen on the day, boy, because that man that just mightn't show up as it's supposed to, and that man who might show up. So
1998 World Cup finals because I was telling somebody today, if they want to figure out how to shut down Mbappe along with the rest of the talent, you could look back at that 98 finals when France managed to beat Brazil, and Brazil was in flying form and Ronaldo was doing like what Mbappe doing now, running past everything, bodying everything, and France managed to somehow. But they said the Walker will be on Ronaldo, so maybe somebody other Walker will be on Mbappe. When you come out in that final and play rare shit to the dog. Man looks sick all kind of thing. You know?
Well, they could probably tell the Qatar officials that he have an alphabet brother. Hey, this is how you look to shut it down for the night. Hey, easy. We'll obviously have our next discussion after the finals. But I think that will be the last one for the year. That will be the last episode
for the year.
Yeah.
We shut it now. We shut it down for Christmas.
Yeah.
Man?
So you don't understand. You kind of tired, right? I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
So we out. Easy.